okay, well, I've never done a live event before, but I am confident in front of camera. I do have experience there. In general, I feel confident. I'll practice a little bit, and I don't think I'm going to let anyone down. And this is an opportunity, and I'll regret it if I don't take it. So I took it. Hello, and welcome back to my channel. It is Mark, aka Born Free. Is it aka Born Free, also known as, or is it sort of the artist formerly known as Born Free? Is it Reborn Free, or is it just something else? Is it Midlife Mark? I don't know, whatever you want, whatever makes sense. So wanted to give you some insight and some of my thoughts about some stuff that happened in the past and my approach to things. And for this video, we're going to talk about live events. I actually got to do a few live events, which was nice. So just after Evo had paid me to be Evo, the reason I keep saying paid me is because I rarely ever got paid. So I'm saying paid me because it's like, well, this was good. Like I was getting paid, like I was getting paid a wage and I was getting paid expenses. And the same thing happened for Brooklyn Beatdown, which came quickly after that. So I was like, this is good. This is working out well. So Brian, who was running the event, he was a fan of my work, I guess, or liked my work, and very supportive person, and just yeah, great. And said, come along, we want you to do the interviews with these players before and after their matches and stuff like that. I also did some live work, I think, with East Coast Throwdown and also Defend the North. That was those were smaller in the sense that they were more regional events, and it started off from a grassroots place, and that was always an interesting experience because sometimes I would have to cover all the games, and so I'd have to actually do a lot of what I thought was really hard work, like running around tracking down people who were experts at each of the games, trying to understand like what's the latest gossip, what's the latest on the game, what are the most relevant questions, who has rivalries, who's a dick, who isn't a dick, like how should I approach certain people, etc, etc, etc. That's a whole nother story. Brooklyn Beatdown was my first live event. So my first live event was like, okay, well, I've never done a live event before, but I am confident in front of camera. I do have experience there. In general, I feel confident. I'll practice a little bit, and I don't think I'm going to let anyone down. And this is an opportunity, and I'll regret it if I don't take it. So I took it. So we did Brooklyn Beatdown, big event. It was in some sort of basketball stadium. It was in a basketball stadium. I've forgotten the name of the team, basketball or ice skating, but it was in Brooklyn. And it was part of, I think it was part of ESL or something like that. It was part of a big, broad esports event. There was a big monetary prize, which Tokido won. He came over and he won it, right? And the photo on my profile of actual YouTube is me where I was holding up his arm to say winner type of thing at the end of the show. But also I had let go, and that's where the photo came from, is just us both holding our arms up. Which is kind of weird and awkward, but I love the photo. It's the only one I got, and so I like it in that respect. And you know, Tokido being my hero, and he is the one that was where Brooklyn Beatdown was, where I had gone as just someone watching. I had paid to get in, or maybe I got media, I'm not sure, but I had paid to get in, and I think I'd paid to get in, and I had done an interview with Tokido. That was when he had told me no, and I had convinced him by showing him the questions. And since then we had formed I would say a sort of respect for each other, in the sense that he liked my questions, he vouched for me for the Chen interview and all that stuff. Anyway, going off script, let's get back on script. It was a huge production. There was definitely a lot of money behind it. There was everything was done for me. So free, my God, when things are done for you, the freedom you have, like not having to worry about your camera shutting off every 10 minutes because it's a DSLR, not having to worry about your sound being on or off. or you know, not at the right levels, not having to worry about your lighting, not having to worry about all the things I had to worry about, you know. I was a one-man band, you know, so like I did all of that stuff. I was a production company all rolled into one. Administration, scheduling people, getting interviewers, all that sort of stuff. Then going home, taking it, editing it, or marketing it, everything. It was all just me, and I felt alone a lot of the time. Not boohoo alone, but like I felt like it's just, this is on me. Apart from the fact that I had people who supported me, which was a big deal, but like it was, everything was on me. And so when I came to this production, it was like, here's a mic, there's your cameraman, his name's Bob or whatever. Here's your producer, I got a little earpiece. She's going to talk to you and tell you when you're on and when you're off, or how many seconds you have left. And if you ever want to interview anyone, just let us know and we'll try and fit it in. You know, because there would be players coming off from a fight and I'd think, oh, it's Daigo. Let's go talk to Daigo right now. That fight was really interesting, or whatever. Or I've got another question lined up for him, just in general about Street Fighter 5. You know, try to bring my own, like I said, try and bring some Born Free to it. So I had done lots of research and ideas about what my questions could be. And every now and then I would say, oh, I want to speak to this guy. I want to speak to him now. And they would try and figure it out, you know. And also there was dead air, you know, sometimes with these tournaments. You know, as they progressed, there was less dead air. But what I mean by that is like a fight would finish and then it would be like time for the commentators to fill in, or adverts to come on, or even just a still frame with, you know, we'll be back and some music. But this one was really professional. But the amount of headspace you get, suddenly you've got more freedom because people are looking after other things. But yeah, it was my first time, and live events are tough. You know, like you have people talking about that all the time, about their craft, about how seriously they take their craft, and how many events it takes to get there, doing it and failing and doing it and doing well and doing it and failing and doing it and doing well, doing some stuff good and doing some stuff bad and reflecting on it and getting it better the next time. And, you know, starting off in grassroots and doing 50 of those before you know. And this was just my first one. So of course I made mistakes. But you know, I had a team around me to support me, which was good. And I didn't feel alone. I felt like part of a team, and that was great. But yeah, I definitely had some funny moments. One of them was at the beginning. Well, by the way, we all had makeup on, which was first for me. So I had a little makeup on to get rid of my greasy nose and all that sort of stuff. Then the next thing was we had to do this sort of intro, like, hey, it's Brooklyn Beatdown, welcome everybody, blah blah blah. And now we're going to pass over to Mark, who's down in the ball pit, and he's going to tell us about the ball pit and the players and this and that and the other. And to tell you the truth, I didn't know that this bit was coming so much as, well, no, I knew it was coming, but like it was something that I hadn't foreseen the night before. I think I had everything else I'd sort of in my head. I was like, I think I know how this is going to play out. But the ball pit bit I thought was going to be quicker than it was. So I thought they were going to come down to me. I was going to basically show them around and then be like, back to you. But I was waiting for the producer to say 3, 2, 1, let's go back to Sajam or whatever, right? And of course the producer didn't. And I'd run out of things to say. And so I did it myself. That was probably the biggest mess up of the weekend. Is that basically I was like, and so let's head back to the commentators. And at first I used to just say the commentators because like I was still pretty nervous. So I wasn't ready to call people by name because I couldn't always see who was up there, to be honest, most of the time. And we'll come on to that in a bit. So back to the commentators, and they were fine. They're professionals. And I think they probably even joked about it. The fact that I threw it back to them, you know, but it went back to them. And I was like, oh. And then later on, I sort of looked people up and sort of saw how people did it, watched future, you know, tournaments and realized there were other things that I could have included. Like I could talk about, there was more freedom there than I thought. Like I could sit there and I could say, I was just talking to so-and-so and he said this, and I was just talking to Punk and he said this, and that sort of stuff would have done well, I think. But you live and learn, and I would have loved to have taken that into another tournament or whatever. But this wasn't a long ongoing thing for me. This was a moment in time, and I enjoyed it. There were other mistakes. There was a time when I actually did say, let's go back to Z and David or something, and it would be like, no, it's Sajam and James Chen now. I'd be like, great. And then towards the end, we had to go on stage and give Tokido his prize and all that sort of stuff, or whoever won, but it was Tokido. And I think we had a big check, and I think we had a trophy, and it was me and Z, and Z was helping with some translation, depending on whether Tokido wanted to speak English or not. I think there was another, I can't remember who he was fighting against. It may have been another player who didn't speak English. Not saying that's what the only thing Z was there for, not at all. But they hadn't hired a separate translator. So if there came a time when a translator was needed, Z jumped in there, and then carried on doing all the brilliant things that Z does, including commentary. But when we were about to go on stage, I said, listen, my earphone is not working, guys. I cannot hear you. And I would hear like crackling and stuff. And in the end, someone just came running up to me and just said, here's what you got to do. You got to go give him his prize. And then you got to talk to him, have an interview with him, and then you got to close out the show. Like, okay. Having had like everything was really well timed before. So I went up, gave him his prize with Z. Me and Z did that. And then Z took 2 steps back, right? Oh, well, I don't know why I'm standing up. But Z, because I was going to demonstrate it, but I'm not. Z took 2 steps back. And I looked at him and I thought, he's taking 2 steps back. I'll follow his lead. So I took 2 steps back as well. And then I realized what it was, because this was my first time. There was a moment where the photographers needed to take photos of him celebrating, having his trophy and his, check and all that sort of stuff. So that was cool. We did that, and then we went back on, and then I think we did a small interview with him. Nothing too crazy. I just really just quite an open question, asking him what he did. I think he had adapted his game. I forget exactly. I was quite nervous, but it was fine. It was fine, and then I closed out the show. Thank you everyone, thank you fans and all this sort of stuff, all these fans, but they were all just like waiting for, a lot of them were waiting for Counter-Strike, to be perfectly honest. It was mostly players there, not really like Street Fighter fans. So it's like Counter-Strike fans kind of, who was sort of having a bit of fun, really. They kind of were enjoying it and all that stuff, so it was all good. So it was one of those things where I walked away thinking, I don't think I did a bad job. I got a pat on the back. I was, and it was nice feeling like I was part of a team for once. That was a really nice feeling. And I look back on it with a lot of fondness, and I got paid. So it was good in that respect. But definitely, like, if you're doing live events, it's going to take a number of events to hone your craft. Sajam talks about it, in commentary. Logan talks about it. Jeremy talks about it. Like, these people, it's all about, repetition and also trying to, improve your game, bring something new, but getting the basics right and be honing your craft, as I said. One last thing, we'd just like to say thank you to Sir Sick80 for donating and supporting me. He is basically telling me not to eat any more instant ramen, which I'm not going to do because it's been hurting, actually. It's been hurting my stomach. I think it's poison. It's pretty much poison. So I've talked about that before anyway. So thank you very much, Sirsic80. I hope I'm saying that right. Second time I think that you've donated, so thank you very much. And hopefully soon we'll get our YouTube partnership back. Not far off a certain stage of it. There's like 2 stages of it. So we're getting there. Anyway, I think that's it for me today. Goodbye. Peace out. I love you. See you in the next video. Mwah.